Why, hello there, I'm Professor Joel, and welcome to another episode of Planet Scooby Reviews. Tomorrow is the Super Bowl. We see the 49ers versus the Chiefs playing off. Hopefully the game is exciting. And in this episode, we have a football-based episode where Scooby-Doo and the gang are attending a game of the Hawks versus the Cougars. And this episode is The Ghost That Sacked the Quarterback. And it originally aired on December 4th, 1976. And it was episode 14 of the Scooby-Doo / Dynomutt Hour, or commonly known as season 1 of the Scooby-Doo show, which you can buy on DVD, the entire first season. It does come partnered with the Dynomutt episodes as well, so it's pretty good value. This game sees the gang attending a football game, like I said, but the star players are being kidnapped by like a 1930s long deceased football playing ghost called the Rambling Ghost. And I just love the design of the Rambling Ghost. It's very creepy, very zombie-like, kind of similar to Dr. Coffin from the Harem Scarum Sanitarium. So if you're a football fan and want some light watching to warm you up for the Super Bowl, this is the episode to watch. This episode was also a request from Pastry, whose birthday is today, so happy birthday, Pastry. And Victor as well, who's a huge American football fan. So I hope you're chowing down on some great food tomorrow, Victor, for the Super Bowl. Anyway, enough of my rambling. Let's get on with the show. The episode begins with the gang attending a Hawks versus Cougars football game. The score is set to 0 for both teams, but that doesn't stop the crowd's excitement. While doing a clumsy cheer for the Hawks, Scooby ends up spotting the Rambling Ghost, but is ignored by the gang as they continue to watch the game. Right at the end of the game, Flash Granger, the Hawks star player, scores the winning touchdown, and while being carried off the field by his team, multiple fireworks go off, along with the Hawks' mechanical bird mascot flying around the stadium.
Hey, here's our big chance. They're sending Flash Granger in the game. Yeah, like he's the Hawks star player. Like knock it off, Scoop. Flash is gonna carry the ball.
There goes Flash.
That's the final gun.
There's the Hawks mechanical mascot.
So there's a lot of confusion, and amidst all the smoke and celebratory fun, Flash Granger disappears right from the team hands that are carrying him. Meanwhile, the Rambling Ghost, a zombie-looking football player, while he appears at the top of the scoreboard, leaving the stadium, Velma discloses that the police still haven't found Flash Granger, nor have they found any clues. All they have to go on is the Rambling Ghost appearing. Determined to solve the mystery, the gang head to Mr. Prentice's house, as he is the Hawks stadium owner. At the house, Mr. Prentice explains that in the 1930s, the football player named the Rambling Ghost was booed off the field during a game. Upon exiting, he cursed the stadium, and he was never seen again until now. Mr. Prentice suspects that the Rambling Ghost kidnapped Flash, as without their star player, the Hawks will never be able to win. Furthermore, the fans are frightened, which means ticket sales are now way down in sales. Intrigued, the gang sit in on a practice session and are warned to stay away by another player named Crunch Connors, Flash's replacement. While searching for clues, Crunch vanishes into thin air while he's practicing running through tires, and the Rambling Ghost appears slightly behind a punching bag.
Now that's Crunch Connors. He's replacing Flash Granger.
Very interesting.
Jeepers, he just disappeared. It's the Rambling Ghost.
A small chase ensues before the gang reunite and decide to split up and look for clues.
Let's split up and see what we can find out.
Looking for clues in the locker room, Shaggy and Scooby find a newspaper clipping, which is soon stolen from the Rambling Ghost. After another small chase, Shaggy and Scooby get back together with Freddy and the girls.
What happened?
Hey, what happened?
There they investigate the scoreboard where they saw the Rambling Ghost sneak into. Inside the scoreboard, they find it destroyed, with the scoreboard operator Mr. Ellsworth knocked out. Mr. Ellsworth explains that it was the Rambling Ghost who attacked him.
Are you okay? I think so. I'm the scoreboard operator. The rambling ghost grabbed me, and that's all I remember.
It's Bulldog Kratotsky. I came up here to make sure the scoreboard operator spelled my name right. I saw the Phantom, so I ducked in here.
Hiding in a closet is Bulldog Protowski. He claims he came up to make sure his name was spelt right on the scoreboard, and he saw the Phantom, so he hid himself away in the closet. Everyone's a little suspicious of this, but Bulldog's a big guy. The Rambling Ghost is kind of skinny and thin because he's like a zombie, so yeah, probably unlikely Bulldog is the Rambling Ghost, but is he involved somehow? That remains to be seen. Back on the field, the gang discover a trap door, which explains how Crunch Connors vanished. They discover the new stadium was built over an old stadium, so there are several tunnels underneath. Going down one tunnel, they split up once again.
We'll have to split up. Daphne and I will take this one.
Shaggy and Scooby and Velma, they find an old dusty Hall of Fame trophy room, as well as the Rambling Ghost sitting at a deck with the newspaper clue he had before. With a little bit of clumsy stealth, they manage to snag the newspaper away from him, but not without a chase. Evading the Rambling Ghost, Velma, Shaggy, and Scooby fall into another trapdoor and land in a room that has both Flash and Crunch. That room must stink as they fall into a pile of old, dirty, and probably smelly uniforms. Even Flash and Crunch are still wearing their uniforms, including their helmets. Like, come on boys, that cannot be comfortable. Flash and Crunch explain that before they disappeared, they blacked out. With no way to escape, Velma MacGyver's a way out using a canvas bag, an air pump, and a hairpin. With the newspaper in hand, the gang head back to Mr. Prentice's house. There he explains it's an article about the old coaching staff.
It's our old coaching staff. There's Baxter and myself, but we haven't seen the others for 10 years.
Among the staff photo, he hasn't talked to anyone but Coach Baxter for the past 10 years. Freddy devises a ridiculous plan to catch the Phantom using Shaggy and Scooby as a decoy for Crunch Connors and Flash Granger at a practice game.
I've got an idea to lure him into the open at the practice session tomorrow night.
I'm not sure how a dog on 4 legs and the string bean Shaggy could pass as 2 hefty professional football players, but the plan works and they end up catching the Rambling Ghost. Unmasking the ghost, it is revealed to be Mr. Ellsworth, the scoreboard operator. Freddy realizes that this is just a ruse and pulls off another rubber mask to reveal that it's Buck Bender.
Like, wow, it's Mr. Ellsworth, the scoreboard operator.
But it's someone Mr. Prentice will remember.
Buck Bender.
He was in the newspaper picture the Phantom had.
I fired Buck Bender years ago.
And I swore I'd get even. And I would have, if it hadn't been for these nosy kids and that dog.
Buck, who we haven't heard of until now, is an old coach that Mr. Prentice fired years ago. You see, the newspaper article had incriminating evidence on Buck Bender, so he needed to steal it to get away with the revenge he was taking upon the team and stadium for firing him. The gang explains that they knew Crunch disappeared by falling through the trapdoor, but with Flash, Buck used the Hawks' mechanical mascot bird to swoop down in the fireworks smoke and snatch Flash away. Happy, Mr. Prentice gives the gang free tickets to the 50-yard line for the upcoming Wonderbowl championship game. With another mystery solved, the gang celebrates the Hawks winning a championship game against the Sharks, and the Hawks celebrate by giving due credit to the gang for saving the day. So I give this episode an 8.5 out of 10. Initially when I saw it, I was giving it an 8, but now I kind of want to give it a 9. So I'm going to say 8.5 out of 10. I've watched it 3 times and it just gets better with every viewing. You realize how much they put into this episode that works. The reason why it doesn't get a 10 out of 10 for me is that it's just not spooky enough for my taste. I like my Scooby-Doo episodes a little bit spookier. And also the reveal at the end, there's no real clues other than the newspaper article who is the true villain. You don't meet that character beforehand. So as a viewer watching, you could never guess who it is. So 8.5. And what I love about this episode though, it's that is creepy. It's the secret tunnels. Those are really creepy. The Forgotten Hall of Fame, which is, full of cobwebs, and it has that the Rambling Ghost in there just at a desk writing. That is actually really creepy. And it also has a double masking, which is kind of neat too. Like they whip off the mask and it's this old guy, and then they whip off another mask and it's this, the true villain. And that is rather cool. The jokes and chase scenes are spectacular in here. They make fair use of, or full use out of the football stadium. I don't show the chase scenes in my episode reviews because I want to encourage you to watch the episode, and chase scenes don't really contribute to the plot. If I wanted to show everything, I'd have to show the full episode, and then I get a copyright strike and you couldn't watch my channel. So I usually cut out the chase scenes, but they run through like steam rooms, and they're in a whirlpool bath, and they're hiding in lockers, and there's like this giant shark mascot mouth that they fall into, and there's giant flying mechanical birds, and the whole fact that there's this abandoned old stadium underneath the new stadium. It's very creative, very fun. So yeah, 8.5 out of 10. And one fault I also saw with this is that I don't understand the significance of the newspaper clipping. Like, so what if there's a picture of Buck with the teen? I'm not really sure how that is incriminating. I mean, there's like 5 or 6 people alive who remember him as being part of the team. There's probably like paperwork, office paperwork from, his termination notice, his pink slip. And there's probably other newspaper articles where he was included. And there's, probably thousands of newspapers out there that, people hoard newspapers. So I don't understand how one newspaper in particular could be incriminating. But regardless, if you're hyping yourself up for the Super Bowl game, the ghost that sacked the quarterback is the episode to watch. Anyway, we will return in 2 weeks with Mamba Wamba and the Voodoo Hoodoo. So until then, stay spooky.
Dearest Trisha, I think of you always. Your smile, your laugh. I'm not angry. The blame's gotta fall on me. I am, however, torn apart when I think that I won't be there to see our child come into the world, cradled in your arms, and her first smile. I got your package. Those pink coconut things have made me quite popular. Met a guy just the other day, Baby-O. He sure does love him. And now our daughter, beautiful Casey. I watched her grow in the pictures you sent. I showed him the Baby-O. His reaction was simple. He said, "Thank God she looks like her mama." I'd have to agree. It's funny, but here I am, in maybe the worst place on earth, and yet somehow I feel like the luckiest man alive.